All right, welcome back everybody. Part two, head gasket installation this time. So we've done all the cleaning off camera. We're going to show you on the bench the head we prepared and the head that came off. So all that stuff's done, ready to go. We're going to show you that. We'll show you that, and let's get started. Okay, so here we got the old head and the head we prepared to use. Obviously you can see a big difference in condition. So yeah, this one had all the valves relapped. Obviously on the other side I changed the valve stem seals. But yeah, pretty gross. So how did I get that looking like that from that? Well, let me show you. So I used one of these sharpening stone, coarse on one side and fine on the other. As you can see, it runs the whole width of the head, and we literally ran it up and down in a smooth motion. Obviously keeping this lubricated, we just used some WD-40 using the coarse side and just keeping it firm pressure all the way backwards and forwards. Is this the right way to do it? No, but like I said in part one, I don't really care because this motor's not going to stay in the car. As you can see, the finish is pretty good. I checked this head anyway, it wasn't bowed, couldn't see any cracks in it, so I went with this method. So you can get it going from that to that with that. Obviously you got to use a bit of oven cleaner or upper engine cleaner to get the carbon off. And then once I did all of that and gurneyed it and went through all the process of cleaning, we also hit it with a soda blaster. So that got it all looking the way it is. But what a transformation that it can go from something like that to something like that. And you don't have to send it to a machine shop. Okay, and in here you can see head gasket. I've just sat on there to make sure it's right and fits. But we did the same with the top of the engine block as we did with the head. We ran that stone up and down. Now I have checked it for squareness and any imperfections, and it's all good for what I want it for. So we're gonna send it and see what happens. So what we will be doing too once the head goes on is we will compression test to see the difference in all the cylinders, and then we can make a decision if we flog this thing until it blows and then put that one in. So we're going to get ready to clean up a little bit more on the manifold. Doesn't need too much, a bit of a wire wheel, but I'll cover that up. Now, a couple of things to mention. Anything that's in your way, just pull it to the side. If it keeps flying back at you, just zip tie it out of the way. You know, use some tie wire or zip ties. Just move anything that's in your way out of the way. Makes it a lot easier to work on. Also, if you're having trouble with bolts and being worried where they go, or you know, there's different sizes or whatnot, take a piece of cardboard, take your bolt, shove it through, and just line them all up. And then take yourself a texter and say it's the timing cover. Right, so that's the timing cover, and that's your crank pulley right there. And there's bolts that go here, 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 and then on this side and whatnot. And then the head goes here. Just punch them through. So when you go to put it back on, you pull a bolt out and put it back in. So if that was that there, you would just poke all your bolts in. That also pretty handy if you're worried about forgetting where they go or even losing them, really. On this motor, not so much. I just threw everything in here and over there, and I've been doing this 20 years, so it doesn't bother me too much. So let's get this thing going. Okay, time to put the head on. Gasket's on, surface is clean. Note, when you put the head bolts in, you can lubricate the threads, a little bit of engine oil. Lubricate the underside of the washer and in between the head of the bolt and the washer as well, just so there's no binding. But do not over oil these. The oil will run down the thread, end up at the bottom of the thread in the block, and you'll create a hydraulic lock. You can't compress oil or water or any type of liquid. So if you get this full of oil or lubricant or water or muck or whatever, you won't be able to bolt the head down properly, and you'll get an insufficient torque on the head, and you got a chance of the gasket leaking. So if you overhaul it, just wipe it off. Also, with the threads in the block, blow them all out. Spray carb cleaner, brake cleaner, something down the threads and blow them all out. Make sure they're all nice and clean. You do not want a hydraulic lock when you're torquing these down. So let's get to it. Okay, this ain't the torque wrench. Yes, I'm going to use this to run all the bolts down, but I got it set to its lowest setting. We will be using a torque wrench. Now, these are used head bolts you can use on this engine because they're not torque yield. Torque yield is when you torque up a bolt and they want it to stretch. These bolts don't stretch. You can reuse them. So I'm going to run them down, go look up the torque settings, and then I'll run through the torque settings with you. We are using a torque wrench, okay? So don't bust me up in the comments. 3 stages, starting in the middle, working our way out. And yes, I know my torque wrench is old, but it works. That's it, that's basically the head bolted back up. Now, we'll change the plugs at the end, just because we want to leave them out so when we turn the motor over to do the tappet adjustment, there's no compression building up. So just the reverse of what we did. We start putting stuff back on. So keep watching. All right, boys and girls, this is where we got up to. Lo and behold, my phone decided to run out of battery. So we were doing work without recording. This is probably the first, actually it is only the first time it's ever happened to me. So this is where we got up to. Exhaust and intake is on. We adjusted the tappets. I do recommend when you do the tappets that since we've got the option to have the carby off, don't put the carby on. Do the tappets first, then put the carby on. Obviously, if you're just doing a tappet adjustment, you wouldn't pull your carby off. But since we've got that option that it's off at the moment, leave it off. So, head's torqued down, spark plugs are in, rock covers on, tappet adjustment is done. We'll probably end up redoing it because you're supposed to do it hot. So we'll run it, and you're also supposed to re-torque the head after running it for a while. So we're pretty much on. I got to get these cut down. So I've used new hardware because I had some laying around, so we used it. So basically from here, the head's pretty much on. Carby goes on. This I haven't put on because it doesn't look nice. So I'm trying to work out a better option for that. But that's basically on. If we put the carby on and the dizzy, forget about the drive belt and the radiator, you could start it up for, you know, a while running it without coolant. So it would basically be carby and a fuel line, the distributor cap and leads, and also plumb up some of the vacuum stuff, and you could run it without coolant. So stuff to do still, clean up here, and also we're not going to run a heater on this one because the plate on the back, when I find it next time, I'll show you guys, it was rusted. And the spare that I had already been repaired, so I don't want to run that. So we're going to block off the heater. So we're not going to run heater, we're going to block off here and here and not run a heater for now. I got to modify or get some plates made up with some AN fittings and whatnot. So no heater. So it's going to minimize the junk in the engine bay as well with hoses. So we're going to leave it for today, and we're going to come back. We're going to come back another day. Today is Monday, it's Anzac Day. I worked the morning part on that thing. So during the week, maybe even stay back after work one day and we'll finish it off. So after the head's done, we're going to do some brakes, but we'll finish off the head and give you a startup. So fingers crossed when we do that compression test, it comes up good. But so that's where it stays for now. It's Monday, Anzac Day. I'm going to go enjoy the rest of the day off. Got some other stuff to do. We'll finish off during the week. We'll just do a continuation of part 2. So for you, it's going to be a couple of seconds. For me, it's going to be a few days. So not be long. It'll be up and running, I hope. We're going to do a compression test. Hope that's good. Otherwise, that motor is going to have to go in there. But okay. See you in 30 seconds. 3 seconds. So I told you it'd only be like 3 seconds. So 3 seconds for you guys has been 2 weeks for me. It's been chaos. The Corolla's not over there anymore. It's over there. Let me flip you around. Here she is. So we did a couple of things off camera. It's just been chaos the last 2 weeks. So finishing up this head gasket replacement. As you can see, there's some stuff still missing. This is basically all you need to get this thing to run, and it does run. Carby, fuel line, don't even need a vacuum line there, or even there, or anything. No choke, nothing special, rock cover's not even bolted down, it's just pushed down. No coolant, the radiator's toasted, I'll show you that in a second. Yeah, radiator's busted, that's all needs to be replaced. But let me show you, let me start it up. And it's hard to do when you're trying to film a YouTube video. Just like that. So we don't have a choke, she's cold. She needs to be warmed up, but we can't run her too long because we don't want to overheat and blow the head gasket. Okay, so as you can see, it does run, and you can run it with not many things attached to this engine, which is pretty good. So we will be finishing this up at a later date when I can get a radiator and I can spend a bit of time to clean all this up. But just to show you from the last video what we did, and then to this video where we just literally threw on the carby and a fuel line and the big brake booster hose, and she runs. So we will make another video where we finish that up. So yeah, it's not that hard. You can give it a go. You don't need many special tools. You need a torque wrench, a set of feeler gauges to do the tappet adjustment, like a cheap ass air compressor so you can blow things out. You can do that whole job with without air tools. You can do it with hand tools. It's not that bad. You know, you can save yourself a lot of money by even just pulling it apart, sending it to a machine shop, getting them to do all the cleaning, machining. They can even supply you with gaskets and head bolts, and then you just chuck it back on. The biggest trouble you'll probably have is the tappet adjustment, but I'll run through that in another video. Just because this video is a little bit shambled. A lot of stuff's been going on. I've had this lovely thing to work on. I had to do a steering box. Don't even go there. But with this thing, sweet as, she'll run. We'll get her buttoned up where I can actually get it to idle and whatnot. We'll drive it around the car park and share that. But give it a go, guys. It's not that hard. What's the worst you could do? Boys and girls, give it a go. What's the worst that's going to happen? Make a mistake, you learn. And the rocker cover did come out pretty mint, and I still haven't worked out what I'm going to do with that, but we'll get there. Alright, stay tuned. Hopefully I'll put out another video real quick to catch up on the week we missed. So, you guys know what to do. Like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Bye.